time for another episode of the Blind Side Podcast. Once again, I am joined by my good friend, the KSB Alumni, Steve Mengs, aka Steve LeMay. What's up, man? How you doing? How are things in Louisville?
Doing good.
All right. So today our theme is KSB Christmas Volume 2. We're going to be showing more or telling more KSB Christmas stories. Last time we did a KSB Halloween. Now it's the end of the year, and not really the end of the school year, but the end of the calendar year, and it's Christmas time. And Steve, I want to ask you: do you have any KSB Christmas stories you would like to share from your time at KSB?
I do remember some things and stuff like I think we were like decorating and I think Evans Hall or something. I think I do remember something like that.
Yes, yes. I remember that too. I remember quite vividly decorating Hauser and Evans, and we would always decorate for the competitions. And I remember we always would do that, and we had those. Remember the big open houses we used to have at night? Not the Friday morning ones. We'll get to that, but the ones that would happen, I think, usually on Wednesday or Thursday before we'd go home. We would get in the food center. They'd have the fireplace going, and we would have or they would have that big open house with all that food, all that Christmas candy and cookies and cakes and punch. And remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I think the puncher is the best part.
Oh, I know. Oh my God! It's like I look back on it, and now we're older, and you have to watch what you eat and all that stuff. Back then, watch what you eat. Yeah, right. I ate, let's see, a whole plate full of Christmas cookies and candies and peppermints, and had 3 or 4 glasses of punch. I had a big time.
I,
But do you remember any gift that you might have gotten from one of those open houses that really stood out to you that you did not expect?
I don't really remember like too much, but I do remember all the lights and stuff like that. Pretty much and stuff. I
Oh
remember.
yeah.
I remember a lot of from going back and forth from one school to the next, pretty much that was
Hmm.
kind of confusing about which was which.
Oh man. But
And
yeah.
especially going from KSB to Seneca High School to going back and forth.
Oh yeah. Going back and forth to each one.
Yeah.
Uh, I
One reason why I was
remember.
actually staying at the campus pretty much mostly was because at home but was back then that things were kind of wonky pretty much.
Yeah, no, I was a dorm stayer myself. I stayed in the dorm from the age of 5 to the age of 18 when I left. But and,
Yeah.
and I remember very vividly those memories of Christmas, and when you were a younger student, you weren't there for this, but when you were younger, you would get to make a little list, not too big high ticket items, not like video games or movies or wrestling movies. It had to meet certain criterias. It could be like a talking clock or a tape player, just something easy within a budget. And, you would get something off your list. And, as a kid, then as you got older, they would have, you would get maybe a jar of candy or something. I remember you may have been here for this, but I think it was 1999. I got this big red and green tin. I'm like, what's in this? I get home, it was a big thing of peanut M&Ms.
I wonder what that ski trip that we did was that like there that around that time or was it
That was after. That was more towards the end of the year. That was more towards like February or March.
that's why I was wondering pretty
Yeah,
much.
that was more in February or March. What they did at Christmas. Did you ever go caroling with the KSB students?
I think I think I tagged along, but back then that wasn't I don't think I was like actually singing pretty much. It was more just
Yeah, I
doing a
went.
lip singing like kind of thing pretty much.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. Yeah, boy, I remember that. But I remember doing one year. I remember very vividly. I think it was 98 or 99. I forget which one, but we went caroling around the neighborhood, and then after that, we went over to Mr. Rick Ricks's house. And at Mr. Ricks's house, He had hot chocolate for us and hot chocolate chip cookies right out of the oven. I was like, oh, this can't get any better, right? So then Mr. Ricks shows us his new big screen TV. And we asked, well, can we watch wrestling? He said, sure. So he put WWF on for us, and we had a big old time watching Monday Night Raw, Stone Cold Steve Austin, eating hot, fresh chocolate chip cookies, drinking hot, fresh, hot chocolate. You can't beat
Hey,
that. You cannot beat that.
I haven't watched wrestling in so long and stuff again. I don't even know who's new and who's not pretty much now.
Oh, we could do a whole separate thing on that if you want. We can do a whole separate episode on wrestling and just go in depth. But that was one of my other favorite Christmas memories. So, Steve, what was your favorite thing about the big open houses that we would have during the week leading up to Christmas at
I,
KSB?
I do remember that a lot of things that was going on there at the time, like with the cooking and stuff like that, and dorms, and also
Oh yeah.
the, the dorm parents or whatever they call
Oh
them.
yes.
I still remember. I think it was Miss Weston. I
uh,
still, I still remember her.
she was the home ec teacher, the ADL teacher. Um,
Yeah.
I remember we would bake in her class. Like we would always bake Christmas cookies and gingerbread houses, and oh, those gingerbread houses. Oh God, them things were a pain to make. I mean, I had to have help because I didn't want mine to crumble, or I didn't want to get my hands all messed up. I was real picky about my hands getting all messed up. So,
Hey.
but I remember the baking, and I was sharing this with my family with about I loved bringing the sweets home, but baking them things was a total PITA. It was
Hey.
PETA. It was PETA. You know what I mean? Because you had to prepare it, you had to get it ready, you had to wrap it up, you had to store it a certain way. And
Hey.
God forbid, if you smashed them on your way home, you were screwed.
Hey.
But I remember in the dorm, like Monday or Tuesday, we would all have to come in, like that week when we would come in from school, because they would get. I don't know if you remember this. They would be lenient on homework that week.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were
My memory has been fuzzy a lot lately, but like I remember some things stuff kind of like in flashes and stuff, and then
right, right, right,
the rest of it is see like I don't remember and stuff till whatever triggers my memory and stuff coming back or whatever.
right. But remember how that Christmas week they would be very lenient with homework, and they would be lenient with they wouldn't give you a lot. They might give you maybe a couple of things, but it was just very, very lenient, very, very little because they knew you were going to be busy with other things that week.
Hey.
But yeah, I remember they would do that, and I'm like, oh, thank God. So I'm thinking, okay, I get to go into the dorm and chill. No, you would go into the dorm and you had to be prepared to cook. You had to be baking your treats, getting that ready because you had to have all this ready to go by Thursday. And I'm like, on Thursday you had to have it ready to pack up, so you had to get all that ready to go. And when you would come in from the open house, um, the open house that we talked about earlier, that's when they would give you your treats to put in your bag or whatever to take home to your families. Me, I was smart. I would just carry that separate. Um, I was smart about it. I carried it separate so they wouldn't get smashed.
Hey.
Because I know my family loved the fudge and the peanut butter fudge, the chocolate fudge, the um, Christmas cookies we would make, and all of that. So I mean, it was just a bunch of cool stuff, like chocolate covered pretzels. Oh, and
Hey.
I don't think we made peppermint bark. I don't think. Um, but okay, so then you had that on like Wednesday. You would decorate your dorm on Wednesday. or throughout the week. You would decorate your dorm room, and then the school. Remember how the school would be all decorated with Christmas lights, and they would have Christmas carols playing over the PA and all this.
Yeah, I do remember that, I think, pretty much.
Yeah, they would have Christmas carols playing over the PA system, and they would have things during the week, like during the day, like they would have Santa's workshop.
Hey, yeah.
We could go buy, stuff for our families. Hey, that's how I did a lot of my last minute Christmas shopping
Hey, yeah.
back in the day. I would just get like the big ticket items, here in at home. But then if I needed a last minute gift, like for a family member or a friend, I went to Santa's workshop because I knew it wasn't going to be like CDs or anything high end, but it was just going to be easy stuff, like headphones or little toys or mugs, just easy stuff.
There's one thing I always wanted to do was like get into like woodworking, like shop like a woodworking class, pretty much.
Oh yeah, and I remember. Although I never did this, you might have in your if you went to a Mr. Mills's woodworking class. But I do remember people would make their own Christmas gifts in that class. They would work on them starting at the beginning of the year, and then they would have them done by Christmas.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, but hit the tools that they would have had in there, pretty much it'd have been a whole lot easier for like making flutes and stuff.
Oh, I know they did. I remember. I didn't make any gifts per se, but the one thing I made, it was a chopping block. I still have it to this day. I made it back in the fourth grade. I still got it, and I cherish it. So, but yeah, do you remember Steve? Do you remember Coach Larry Mann?
I think so. The name sounds familiar.
He was the wrestling and gym coach for years, and he loves this time of year. This is his favorite time of year, and I remember. I want to share one of my favorite memories of his. I shared this last year. It was about we went to the rec. That was his Christmas gift was us all going to the rec. We were just little second, third graders. That was his gift to us was going to the rec and having free time. But the one thing I remember as I got older from him was he would always, have a meaning and a poignant purpose with his lessons. And I remember, Coach, I remember I was thinking back, and I remember that day that he always taught us the meaning of Christmas was it's not the materialistic things you get, but it's the people you have in your life.
Hey, yeah.
You know,
I
the
still
people
remember.
that.
I still remember Justin Forbes.
Oh yeah, yes, the late great Dustin Forbes. I
I for,
remember.
I forget.
mm,
I forgot what year it was he passed away, pretty much and stuff. I know it was quite a while ago.
It was 2003. I remember a friend of mine called me up and told me, and that brings me to a good point. We're talking KSB Christmas stories. I remember Dustin was a student at the school. I think in 98, 99, maybe two. I know he was a 2000 graduate, but when he did Christmas with us, he always wanted to go all out for decorating and for making sure that everybody had their Christmas shopping done, and he helped others in a great way. And I'm never going to forget that about Dustin. He loved Christmas as well, and and him and his faith, and we would just have just hours of just discussion about that. And he's the one that really turned me on to and Coach Mann did this when I was younger, but he and I had discussed it when I was older. Me and Dustin about how Christmas is about those you love and care about, not really the materialistic side. How they are all like, you hear all these ads on TV about, oh, you can have this on the company or whatever. You know, I remember.
Hey, did you ever see that picture I had on Facebook where it was like a small harp I made?
I don't think so.
It's pretty much it was actually a kit pretty much I got pretty much, but I put it together pretty much and stuff, and actually sounded pretty cool.
Nice. So okay, so all right, you know how on at KSB you would have the big Christmas concerts. Remember those? You would have those at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Oh man, did you ever plan any of those?
I think I was going to. I think with I think something came up with something where I was having to do something with Seneca or something, or
Oh,
some kind of craziness with my family or whatever, pretty much.
yeah, I remember playing in many KSB Christmas concerts, and the one I remember the most was, um, I would say back in I think it was the 2000 one. I know I was older, and we had the concert for a couple hours. We went over to have lunch, and then we got our bags and our gifts. And our gift that year, I believe, was a big duffel bag on wheels,
Hey, yep.
which was a great thing. And I remember too getting like duffel bags and sweatsuits as gifts. Do you remember what's your favorite KSB Christmas dinner memories on that Friday?
I do remember ham and I think there was a turkey. I think too.
Oh yes, ham turkey. I think it was. Oh, this is gonna make me hungry. Ham, turkey, oysters, dressing. They had potatoes, deviled eggs, dressed eggs. They had cakes. They had cookies
I
for
think there was
dessert.
deviled eggs too. I think.
Oh yes. Although I'm not an egg eater, I don't eat eggs. But I remember them being on the menu that day. But I never stayed for Christmas dinner. I never stayed because everybody was just like hogs of trough at that thing. Because everybody wanted to get their presents and get home. I was smart. I was one of the smart ones. I was like, no, 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 we're not staying for no Christmas dinner. We're gonna get our present. We're gonna go home because I didn't. I wanted to beat the crowd.
I remember. In fact, I remember seeing the old apartment where I used to live and stuff. But
Hmm.
hit that group of people would actually go to the KSB. I think sometimes and stuff during like Christmas and sometimes
Hmm.
I think sometimes they would even do it for like Valentine's Day, pretty much and stuff too.
Oh yeah, the big dinners. Oh yes, and the dances. Oh yeah, Valentine's Day. They had a thing for that too. But
I think
mhm,
I think the apartment group was called Cedar Lake Residences or something.
I don't
Or
remember. I don't remember.
yeah,
But I remember that the when we would do the Christmas at KSB, they would have, I believe it was the Lions Club would go and have someone dress up as Santa, and now it's like almost like all these traditions are dying away from what I've heard. What are your
I,
thoughts on that?
I want to know what they're showing now, pretty much and stuff. Especially seeing how everything's becoming to where some things are getting that very offensive or something. How they want to
Oh, all PC. I know, I
yeah.
know. It's like it's
It's
crazy.
it's like they want to take all the good things out, pretty much, and blame the
I know. It's like
uh,
I
uh,
remember.
blame it on like the religions and stuff like that, pretty much.
I don't know. It's like I remember back when I was, and this might you may remember this too, but remember how at KSB when we did Christmas, uh, again the house parents. Remember how they would be a little more lenient with the rules.
Yeah,
At the beginning of the week, yeah, they had to get after you because you had to get all your stuff packed and not all of it, but what you were going to take home for the 2 week break.
yeah.
Yeah, you had to get that done,
I
but at the
remember.
end of the week, and you got that done, they were a little more lenient. So if you wanted to.
I remember taking my guitar back and forth pretty much and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that, and I remember you would take your
Eh,
flutes and you
what,
would play those too.
one reason why I would take my guitars and stuff like that to bring on the case to be and stuff like that is because
Hmm.
but I had to find my uh, family with it some bums in pretty much stuff and them end up stealing my guitars or something pretty much.
Oh, hey, do what you got to do.
Which actually did happen to me pretty much. My old that old acoustic I had.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember that. Someone trucked it. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
it's,
remember that.
eh,
Someone trucked it.
here
Oh,
they stole it along with the first keyboard I had pretty much.
oh. So,
Here
Steve,
here
do
they
you
sold it off for
remember?
beer.
Oh Lord. So, do you remember, by chance, do you have any particular KSB memory that you remember as far as Christmas related? Hey, viewer, what's up? Welcome to KSB Christmas Volume 2. But yeah, do you have any type of particular memory at KSB related to Christmas that you remember? Like, do you remember one thing that they did that really stood out to you in your mind?
I remember. I still remember Mary. Mary Bigot. What was her last name now?
I don't know.
I remember she got married or something for the bush.
Right, I remember her, but like, was there any type of like uh Christmas activity that the school did that you remember?
Yeah.
What was one of those for you?
Uh, hey, have you heard from Blaine?
No, I actually tried to get him on our last cast and I couldn't get a hold of him. But
Yeah.
Blaine, if you're
Yeah.
listening, man, I want to wish you a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and season's greetings.
Hey.
Um, so Steve, do you remember how they would always have all that food for us to eat at the big open house, and how we would always get all of those the treats, the candies and the mints. Remember how they always had those mints?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would down those, wouldn't you?
Yeah. The mints are the best part.
Oh, I know. I know that and the punch. And
I think I became a punchaholic.
I know, right? So, when you said you did stay on the in the dorms for a time, did you by chance incorporate any of your Native American culture into your Christmas decorating for the dorm?
I think I did play some Native American flute for some of the songs that I knew half of pretty much.
Oh
I never knew the
yeah,
songs all the way through because of the not being able to be trained to on how to play them pretty much. But I remember
right.
like a few songs pretty much if I think pretty much, but a lot of what I just make it
Mm.
up.
Oh yeah, I remember. I see. I played violin back then. I was in the orchestra and I sang in the chorus. And I remember Miss Dorothy Nolan, her teaching for those concerts. Oh Lord, you had to be on point for violin. You had to be in tune. You couldn't be out of tune. You couldn't be out of focus. You had to be focused on that. You had to be ready to go. You had to be on point. And then for chorus, oh lordy lord. For chorus, it was worse because it wasn't even worse, but it was more as far as work wise. You had your notes had to be perfect. Your your pitch had to be perfect, and your pronunciation and articulation just had to be on point. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. In fact, I think it was actually you that inspired me to even pick up and try to learn the violin.
Oh wow!
Although, if you actually heard me play violin, back then it's not compared to now. Back then it would
Hmm.
probably make every cat in my neighborhood very mad.
Yeah, I know. I remember being
It sounds
able
like
to.
it sounds like torturing cats pretty much.
I know, like, but see, I had been at it since the age of 5, and I would have to pick up and literally relearn and re get back into shape for it because
Do you remember
it's
what? Do you remember what type of violin you had or
yes, it was a full size violin. I don't remember the brand or but it was a full size. It was not an electric. It was an acoustic. Um,
I got one that a Antonio Vangarius or something pretty much.
nice. But
It,
yeah,
it's actually like one of the rare type the names pretty much.
Yeah, I know they're mostly made in France, but yeah, those concerts, man, Miss Dorothy, they only put a lot of effort into those. And I remember a very, I remember one time we were singing, I think it was Silent Night. I don't know if you were on there for this, but we had to sing it in English and in German.
Now
And
that would be hard to do.
oh Lord, I remember days in that classroom having to learn it in German. I'm like, oh dear God, this is going to be so hard. And I learned it and I did it and I memorized it, but boy, that on that concert day before we did Silent Night that day, we had to. She told us if you screw up, we're going to stop and start over. I'm like, oh Lord, because there was a student in our class. I don't know if you remember him, Christopher Craigmile.
Uh-huh.
He would get things a little mixed up, but we kept him on track and everything went well. I mean, he could sing real good. It was just he would sometimes a little bit confused on which order things would go. But we would always, go and do that. And we would,
Eh,
I remember going like Christmas week, we had to play at the Masonic home, and that was
and
something else.
the only German song that I know off my head is from Rammstein, Du hast.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty much the
And
only song I know, pretty much.
yeah, I don't think she would like that one.
Yeah.
But did you ever play at the Masonic home with us or at Kroger with us during Christmas week?
I think I think I did something with Kroger's or something, but I don't remember the Sonic Homes or anything pretty much.
I remember going with the orchestra. We would go and play Masonic Home. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday in the afternoon. So we had to basically. That's part of the reason why they would never give us any homework that week. Is because
Yeah.
we would be just running around everywhere, going and doing playing or singing. And but hey, the beauty in that was more free food. Um, more free cookies and punch. And the
There's
people at the home loved it. They were older, older folks, and
yeah.
they loved hearing us play our violins and cellos and sing our music or whatever, and it was great.
I think I could do better playing cello than I could violin.
I never tried cello. I always did violin, and I sang in chorus. Those were my two things. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but remember how at for that before we would go home for break, they would
Yeah.
always wish us a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was like awesome. And then
Yeah. Were you good at doing that hit that one thing with the violin, the vibrato?
vibrato.
Yeah.
No, I tried getting into that, but I just couldn't do it. Like I said, I would have to literally retrain my fingers and all that
Yeah.
because I've not played in
Yeah.
years.
I
Life
could
kind of
have.
got in the way.
I just now gotten the hang of it a little bit, but it's still it's like the way my hands are pretty much hit my
Oh, I know.
figure of coordinations and stuff, and
Oh, I know. It was just
due to my
insane.
uh I guess from being born and stuff, my
Hmm.
ligaments and stuff again are a whole lot more
Yeah, I know.
weird, pretty much.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of freaky, like going through that and then doing, but I never got vibrato. But I remember the Masonic home concerts we would go to. The folks at the residence loved those, especially at Christmas. And then we would go and play at like churches, and we would play at stuff like that around Christmas. But then that usually that week leading into Christmas break, they would have us do like get packed, and then they had stuff on campus for us to do. Like I remember one week time, you might have been here for this, but we had to, I think, make our own Christmas cards.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I do remember that pretty much.
yeah, we had to make our own Christmas cards. It was pretty cool.
I I know back then or something. I was always I'd actually have more trouble with like my pronunciation of words and spelling and stuff like that. Pretty
Oh
much.
yes, my writing sucked.
In
But
fact,
remember
right
how?
when I got into high school and stuff,
Mhm.
I could have a V or anything back then.
Yeah, I
Actually,
know you.
read for Seneca pretty much.
Yeah, you struggle with some stuff, but remember how at KSB when we would be doing all this stuff, we would always help each other.
Yeah,
That's one thing that I miss about back then was it was a family atmosphere. If you needed help with something, your students and staff would help you. All you had to do was ask, and you had it. You know,
yeah.
and
I wonder if I still got that today. Pretty much, it's
I don't. I wonder myself because I remember, and it didn't just. It wasn't just at holiday time. It was throughout the year. You know,
yeah,
but especially like at Christmas. Like I remember at Christmas time, I needed help with writing my Christmas cards because I couldn't write that well, and they would help me with that. And I would make Christmas cards for my mother, my late brother, my my family. And I would always at Santa's workshop, I would always make sure to buy like little things for people that I felt like needed it. Um, and it was a great thing. It was a very good thing to have those. And I wish that the kids at KSB today would get to experience
yeah,
that because I miss that. And I remember, um, I know you weren't here for this, but I'm going to share one of my favorite Christmas memories from when I was there. When I was younger, see, I was in the late great Elizabeth Oaks' dorm, and we always had these Christmas parties. Her and her late husband, Mr. Oaks, the late great Mr. Oaks, would always exchange gifts, and we would have our party. I remember my family would bring in a big snowman cake. It would be decorated to the max,
yeah.
and we all tore that
Actually,
cake up.
I actually got a weird tape pretty much stuff that it was actually my grandma's tape pretty much, but
Hmm.
there's actually a very weird intro of me singing Jingle Bells pretty much and stuff when I
Oh
was
wow!
I think I was about maybe about 8 or 9 years old. I think pretty much. Actually, might have been in. I think I was about 5 years old.
Oh wow! I remember.
I remember the year was like 1983 or something, which is
Oh
actually right
wow!
before my
That was the year I was
grandma
born,
died,
dude.
pretty much and stuff.
That was the year I came into this world. So, but yeah, like I remember we would always have the parties, and the dorms would be decorated with lights and Christmas trees and all sorts of cool stuff. And then remember, do you remember Steve when it was time to go home for Christmas break and you knew when you came back all that stuff would have to come down, because it would be
Yeah.
over. That kind of sucked. I know you had to do it,
Yeah.
but it was like I don't want to.
Anyway, it's better to have an artificial tree in some ways and stuff because an
Oh yeah.
artificial tree won't die, and you can
Hmm.
leave the lights up on it pretty much stuff and just turn the lights off so
Yep.
there's no fire or anything pretty much stuff that way it's up and ready to go whenever you need it pretty much.
Oh yeah. And I remember like when I would go home for Christmas break, and I'm sure you remember this too. Remember how you would go home for Christmas break and you would get to relax for that them 2 weeks. You didn't have to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
I loved that. I mean, going home, spending Christmas with your family. What was your favorite? What was one Christmas gift that you got on Christmas break that really surprised you?
I think I got in like an old boombox. I think pretty much. I think. Which actually was cool. It was kind of cool and stuff, even though it didn't last long. Pretty much. In fact,
I'm.
I think I had like uh, both a recording tape and
Mm-hmm.
uh, one side there's like a recorder and stuff too, where you can record tapes or dub them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then there'd be a CD player pretty much on the top of or something.
Oh, I remember that. I actually remember. I do have a story. It's not really a KSB. It kind of is because we're talking about KSB Christmas stories and memories.
Yeah.
I was on Christmas break, and it was the summer of 1997 and or 98. I remember I needed a new boombox because my old one had basically stopped working. So
Uh,
for Christmas that year, they got me a new boombox, and the big thing was it had a big red LED display, of your tracks on CD.
yeah.
And I remember it had the tape deck on there too, so you could record from CD to tape. Although I never did that practice, but you could dub like CDs onto tapes. And
Yeah.
it was from what I never did it, but you had to be super quiet when you would do it, because you didn't want to get noise over the tape, you know.
Yeah.
And
Actually, I think some of them stuff you can actually do it record them onto the tapes and stuff like that without worrying because you could there was no microphone or anything hooked up to it pretty much. I think some videos actually had like the
oh wow,
microphones and stuff like that and stuff, and some of them didn't have them pretty much.
yeah, it just depended on what you got. But I remember that one Christmas I got that, and then another Christmas I got. I was wanting the Psycho Circus CD by Kiss. I was 16 years old. I got home from for Christmas break. I was like, yeah, 2 weeks away from school. I just had vision correction procedure done. So
Yeah,
I had good vision. I was rocking that. I was jamming. And I get up Christmas morning. I get this square package, this little square. I'm like, okay, this has got to be some sort of a CD. And it was. It was the CD I'd asked for. And then I got, I think, WWF Warzone for N64 that year. So that meant a lot um, in terms of the family aspect. But now that we're going into Christmas, do you remember any like stories of going back from Christmas to New Year's break, heading into the new year, and kind of wondering what would happen within that new year?
I do remember that some of it was like I remember having like going back and forth pretty much, but that's about it.
Yeah, I remember that
Eh,
too. Like I
eh,
remember.
I do remember when Blaine's mom or his I think she was his foster mom or something picked him up or something, and she actually kind of scared me a little bit, pretty much. It just
Hmm.
seemed it seemed like she wasn't very nice, pretty much. And stuff. It seemed like.
Mm.
But
I never met her.
Blade actually talked about her a whole lot, pretty much stuff. The stuff he was kind of scared of her, I think, pretty much.
Hmm.
He told me that she used to abuse him a lot or something, I think.
Oh wow. Now I remember. So oh yeah. So feelings of dread going back to school. I remember, that second week going into New Year's, I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be over, and got to go back to school, get back in the routine, and that kind of sucked. But I knew I had to do it, so I think it made me stronger as a person,
I
preparing
remember,
me for adulthood.
I remember the panics, the panicking and stuff when 1999 they fought when the year 2000 comes and stuff would be the end of the world.
Oh, I remember that too. I was listening to, I believe it was 100.5 The Fox. Actually, yeah, it was. And they were saying, don't call 911 unless you absolutely had to, because
Yeah,
everybody was on standby because of Y2K. So I go to
yeah.
bed that night, right? I go to bed. I watch I believe it was the ECW New Year's Eve special. So I watched that. I got to bed around maybe 11, 10:30, quarter
I
11.
tried to figure the name of that band that had that song where it's like they kept saying it's the end of the
Silverchair.
world as we know it.
I wasn't sure. I forget. But so anyway, I'm in bed, right? I roll over. It was around 2 o'clock the next morning. I'm like, oh, we're in the year 2000. We made it. Nothing happened. And I rolled over, went back to sleep. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Hey,
So it
yep.
was, that was a big thing. And then, getting back to school, looking forward to spring and what's going to happen then. It was awesome. So, Steve, I was wondering real quick before we wrap up here, do you have any words of wisdom for the KSB students as we go into Christmas break and the end of the year and going into 2022?
Embrace life and don't try to grow up too fast.
Yes, definitely. And always, not only embrace life, but I would have to add to that, uh, cherish what you have because I know times are uncertain at this moment. We don't know what's going to happen with COVID and with this whole pandemic deal. We don't know how things are going to pan out in 2022. Just cherish what you have, embrace the ones you love, and God forbid, don't be hating on each other because I know times are pretty hardcore right now. But if you have a strong KSB family and a strong family at home, love them because you never know what's going to happen.
Hey,
Uh,
yep.
okay, with that being said, I want to say thank you to everyone for viewing, watching, and listening to this episode of the Blindside Podcast. I want to also thank my guest Steve here for joining and
Hey, yep.
participating. And I
Ha-
also would like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This will be the final podcast of the year, and I'll be back in 2022 with some exciting new content. I think you're going to like it.
Happy
And
holidays.
yes, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
I can't wait to the 31st.
Hey, me neither, man. Me neither. New Year's Eve is going to be rocking.
I'm gonna be on Netflix and watching the Cobra Kai season 4.
Hey,
Been
I'm
waiting a
gonna.
whole year for it.
Hey, I'm gonna be doing my New Year's Eve thing here on Twitch. To all you gamers out there, I will be back to streaming regular gaming content.
Hey,
Not this weekend coming up, but next weekend, and then I'll be taking Christmas off, and then New Year's Eve we're having the big bash.
hey, did you know they actually got a game of Cobra Kai?
I do. I actually know of that, and I
It,
may pick it
it,
up at
I,
some point.
I think it's on PS4. I think also pretty much.
Yeah, I know. I may get it at some. I'm not
I've
sure.
been wanting to try it, but I haven't found a PS4 yet. I'm still looking around for one.
Oh wow.
I might try either a pawn shop or maybe game shop or something.
Yeah, go to GameStop. That's your best bet. But yeah, Steve. So basically, do you have any other words of wisdom for KSB students that might be doing the KSB thing this year for Christmas? Do you have any other words of wisdom, or did you pretty much share?
I do, but especially for like not knowing if it's gonna snow or something like that. But which is something if it snows or something like that, it's always best to walk a little bit slower because if there's ice or stuff, this stuff is easy to fall pretty much.
Yes, slow and steady
I
wins
should
the
learn that
race.
the hard way.
Yeah, I know. But oh yeah, I would like to say before I kind of wrap this up, uh, to all students and staff at KSB, I do want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and happy and healthy holidays and season's greetings. And as far as advice or sage wisdom from a KSB alumni, yeah, definitely, as Steve said earlier, embrace those you care about and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it because in these times, in today's world, we all need a little bit of assistance. And so if you have to ask for help, don't be afraid to do so. It's always there for you. And, that's, one thing to always remember. And always to all the seniors that's going to be graduating this year in 2022, be sure to work hard, put the work in. It'll pay off in the end. And with that being said, for Steve Mengs, I want to wish everybody at KSB and everybody listening a happy and healthy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. The Blindside Podcast will be taking a break up through into the new year, and then I'll be back in January with more great podcasting content. Until then, I've been your host, Blind Metal Gamer, saying so long, everyone. Happy holidays, and
Happy
peace out.
holidays.
And peace out.
Yep.
Hmm. So,
Eh,
what